Hello and welcome to Breaking Down Bad Books, a podcast analysing trashy bestsellers from a literary perspective. Following my breakdown of Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey, I'm back in Forks, baby, and I'm looking at New Moon, Stephenie Meyer's shitty Twilight sequel about a depressed teenager, her werewolf best friend, and her vampire boyfriend who goes to Italy and glitters in the sun or something. New episodes are released every week. Read along with me and let me know your thoughts at PodBreakingDown on Twitter or visit breakingdownbadbooks.com for all of the links and contact information. Over on the Patreon, I'm covering Blanka Lapinska's 365 Days, which is a 50 Shades knockoff, but originally written in Polish, and much worse. You can access those bonus episodes at patreon.com/breakingdownbadbooks. Happy reading!
This is where the gaslighting gets really good.
My nickname around these parts is Dead Weight.
I hadn't been considering scissor.
I'm prepared to travel in time.
We were deep into an Adam Sandler rabbit hole on this podcast. How did that happen? A lifetime of Hallmark.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of A Lifetime of Hallmark, where we talk about your favorite movies on both Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel and try to make sense of them. I am Les Kirkendall Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett.
And hello, Kirk Fitzpatrick.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am exhausted. And you know why I'm exhausted? Because this movie was so awful, it sucked my soul. This was a soul-sucking movie.
It was a suck movie.
No, I found it groundbreaking on certain levels. We can get into that, of course.
Well,
that's why we're here.
Are we being a little too? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I don't actually believe this, but are we being too harsh on this week's Hallmark movie, Sun-Sanded Romance? Because last week we had possibly one of the best Lifetime movies, if not the best Lifetime movies we've ever done on this show.
Once again, like I said, it ruined me. I'm ruined.
Yeah.
After that movie.
I went down such an Eric Roberts rabbit hole too. I was reading about.
I did too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, as soon as we were done the show, I read that article again on him that you brought up about how it was like a couple years ago. I think it was in Esquire or somewhere.
Variety, I believe.
I did too. I looked up all the other movies. I looked up the synopses. I am like chomping at the bit to watch the rest of those movies because Jason, it kind of makes sense. You know, you're saying, maybe I was saying this, that like, since this is number 5, the number 1 had to be good for them to continue doing them. Yeah. So I'm excited. This is like when I discovered the Saw universe and I needed to go and see Saw 1.
Yeah. If anyone's listening to this week's podcast and didn't listen to last week's where we talked about Lifetime's Just What the Doctor Ordered, I highly recommend that you listen to that podcast because that movie was wild. Like you have to watch the movie and listen to the pod because it is good.
Oh my God! Like it was.
It's like last year when I heard Jolene for the first time. I never heard the song.
Well,
do you think in his canon of like hundreds of movies that Eric Roberts looks at Just What the Doctor Ordered as his Jolene?
You know what? I think he doesn't even remember what he does. I kind of think that because you ever have like a job, like a routine job, and you just don't remember what happened during the day when you get home. Yeah, I think he does like so much work. He works like 5-6 days a week, and doesn't. Apparently, he shot the Dark Knight and Larry the Cable Guy movie at the same time.
I read that
on the same day,
or 3. No, like I think at one point it was 3 movies he shot at the same time.
Wow.
Kudos.
Kudos to his agent and his manager for like making that schedule work.
3 movies at the same time.
But wouldn't you be tempted if you had a role in the Dark Knight? Wouldn't you be tempted to say, hey, maybe I don't have to do the Larry the Cable Guy, but then again, maybe you had the Larry the Cable Guy first, and then he got The Dark Knight. So
yeah,
maybe
because
that's
sometimes
how that
it has to do with, you know, how the contract was written when you signed on to one. Especially in TV, they have like, say you're on a TV show and you're not sure if it's going to get picked up the series or get picked up for another season. That shows in what's called first position. But say you book another show because it looks like that first show might be going away or might not be happening. That other show's in second position, and so that's why, like, if you watch the show New Girl, the Damon Wayans Jr. character was only in the pilot because that was in second position to Happy Endings, which did come back for like one more season at that point.
And Loretta Swit. I was going to say Loretta Swit was in the very first episode of Cagney and Lacey, but she was still on MASH. So actually, it was like a TV movie. When they went to series, she couldn't be in it.
Yeah. Whose phone is going wild back there? Somebody's getting a lot of messages on their phone. What's going on? I want to know what the dirt is.
Loretta Swit is trending.
Yeah.
Right. Or you know, remember Heather Locklear in the 80s when she was on Dynasty and TJ Hooker at the same time?
Yeah.
And I think that was it too. Like, one was supposed to be canceled, but then ended up not getting canceled. And so since it was all Aaron Spelling, he kind of like made it work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about Keenan? Keenan Thompson is on SNL. He's got his own sitcom too at the same time.
Well, same network and same executive producer Lorne Michaels, who obviously worked around his schedule, and it was picked up for his second season. So if he's sticking around on SNL, he's going to be doing that another year.
Yeah. Well, if he's listening, if he's listening, please stay on SNL. Please stay on for your whole life. You're great on SNL.
I auditioned for a Lorne Michaels project a couple of weeks ago, and I can say it because I didn't get a call back. So
what was that? Was it SNL?
No, it was not SNL. He has a movie coming out. So he's producing a movie. Okay. But anyway, let's not get sidetracked.
Yeah, we really get
Kurt.
Oh.
Do you have any Blac Chyna news?
No, there's been a dearth of Blac Chyna news, but there has been some Lori Loughlin updates.
Oh.
What?
And now, the Loughlin Report. Here's Kurt Fitzpatrick.
All right, this is from Vanity Fair, courtesy of Les Kirkendall Barrett, who sent this to us. This is Lori Loughlin and Massimo. Now, here's the name I wanted to know how to pronounce. I asked before the show started. Giannoli?
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yes.
Oh, I got it. All right. And Massimo Giannoli are reportedly staying at a luxury resort after finishing their prison sentences. They decided to indulge in some serious R&R after they both completed their sentences for their involvement in the college admissions scandal, heading to one of the most exclusive country clubs in the world for some quality couple time. Late last month, the beleaguered pair were spotted enjoying some leisure time at the Madison Club at La Quinta. La Quinta, isn't that
La
motel?
Quinta.
La Quinta.
Well, in Palm Springs, the La Quinta is a very well-known fancy resort. The same name is used on that motel or hotel chain, but in Palm Springs, it's a very nice resort. Yeah.
When I did children's theater in Texas, we used to say La Quintas all the time, and they were always right next to a Denny's. Anyway, so that's according to The Sun. A source told the outlet that they arrived together in the afternoon of Friday, April 23rd, and kept a super low profile. It was the perfect high-end place for them to reconnect after such a long time apart, and Massimo was released from home confinement. They went on to explain that the choice of location was particularly well-suited to Loughlin and Giannoli's needs, as the Madison Club is one of the most exclusive country clubs in the world, right next to Denny's, and it's somewhere they clearly knew they wouldn't be photographed. The couple haven't been photographed together since completing their prison stays, but they're believed, that's what it says, they're believed to have vacation. Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. It's proper English. But they're believed to have vacation at the resort just for a long weekend before returning to Los Angeles. Now, and the couple may be preparing for a fresh start in more ways than one. As around the same time they went on this luxe weekend jaunt, a source told Us Weekly that Loughlin and Giannoli are also considering giving up LA for good. They recently downsized from their spacious home in Bel Air, which overlooked the Bel Air Country Club, just to a smaller home in the guard-gated community of Hidden Hills. The source said. Have you heard of Hidden Hills?
Yeah. I've been to Hidden Hills.
Oh, not so hidden. Oh, but anyway.
How did you find it, Les?
Yeah. Did you find your way out? Anyway, the source said, referring to the $9.5 million farmhouse they bought last summer, they had looked at homes earlier this year in Idaho. Now, I bet Les would like to move to Idaho, move out of LA, and well, we don't want to disparage our Idaho listeners. I haven't spent a lot of time there, but we're prepared to move out of Los Angeles, but eventually decided to stay as their daughters, Olivia, Jade, and Bella, really wanted them close by at the time, but they feel they can begin looking outside the state again now that both girls have their own places and are trying to lead a normal life with their own friends and business opportunities. So that's exciting.
Well,
a lot packed in that story.
What's
after
a lot packed in that story.
Oh yeah, there's enough. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say, after a stint in the joint, you need a CV wrap.
Yeah, I actually didn't fault them for that when I heard that story. I was like, okay, that makes sense. I don't want to break after prison too.
Yeah, you need a hot stone massage after being in the yard.
But they're going to Idaho. Both, it says, Us Weekly source concluded that moving to Idaho would be a good call for them. They can start anew and work on their marriage together as the whole college scandal has taken a toll on both of them as well as their marriage. We don't know about this Idaho thing. Yeah.
Even though after Martha Stewart went to the joint, she stayed in Connecticut and thugged it out. And became friends with Snoop Dogg.
Has anyone ever in the history of time thugged it out in Connecticut?
Well, Martha Stewart.
Oh, yeah. Also, friend of the show, Patti Labelle, I have to say, I have had her peach apple cobbler. Now, this is at Walmart. They're not paying for an ad, but this is at Walmart for $7.98. It was marked down because it expired today, but I got it for about $5.50. And this is excellent. I can't speak highly enough. As I said, she's a friend of the show. We watched her in a movie. We talked about her sweet potato pie. And this peach apple cobbler is really something. I had it for dessert after lunch and dinner.
So you guys know that I'll take notes throughout the show because I'm the one that actually posted onto our different channels. Right. And so as I was writing the words, Patti Labelle, Martha Stewart thugged it out in Connecticut, it autocorrected to Martha Stewart hugged it out in Connecticut.
What did it say?
It changed thugged it out to hugged it out.
Oh, hugged it out.
Which is like, I just picture Martha Stewart like totally zen and like everyone that comes into her orbit, she's like, come on, man, let's just hug.
Bring it in.
Yeah, bring it in.
Yeah. Anyway,
have some Patti Labelle cobbler.
Price down. What's that?
Have some Patti Labelle cobbler, man.
Well, no, someone just wrote me. Loretta's twinning. No, she's twinning. Someone succotash. No, I just have to say, Patti, bring the price down a little bit. Apparently she's got an exclusive deal with Walmart, but like an $8 cobbler at Walmart, that's pricey.
Maybe she thought she was undercharging with that sweet potato pie, and she has a whole new attitude about what she should charge.
Right?
Ooh. That is the Patti Labelle news. Okay.
I had a Patti Labelle sweet potato pie on Kurt Fitzpatrick's recommendation, and it honestly was one of the best pies I have ever tasted. And I'm not even exaggerating.
Wow.
You try this.
So good.
You try this peach apple cobbler, you'll see God.
Okay.
Patti, and I would pay $8. I think that $8 is like she's undercharging because her stuff is good. Like, it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you bought a dessert at a restaurant, it could cost like $7.
For like a single slice.
Yeah. So I got a whole pie for like $5.50.
Yeah. See, now you're like, why are you bitching? Like, that's a good deal.
Well, it was a little cheaper. It was a little cheaper than $8. I didn't spend the whole $8.
And then Patti LaBelle's like, I'm on my own once again.
Anyway, are we have to pay royalties for this? I hope not.
No, because they only sang 2 lines.
And we just promoted her pie. It's an even exchange.
I don't think it works as a trade, like barter system.
Well, it should.
I don't think ASCAP and BMI work in pies.
No, Les didn't get the words right, so there's no way they can sue us.
Oh, right. Okay.
And remember from that old McDonald's commercial. You know what's better than one Patti looking good? Two Patties looking good.
I hope nobody steals the original song that Les just accidentally made up.
Huh? Oh, the new lyrics?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as long as they credit the show.
Right. Well,
I remember, okay, so back in the day, there was this soap opera called Loving. Mm-hmm. And so Trisha was pining over Steve, and that was their song. Every time Trisha would get upset, Trisha would because he was poor, she was rich, they were not allowed to see each other, but every time she looked out of the window, they would play that Patti Labelle song. And then they ran away and got married, and Steve died.
Oh. Well, who was rich?
Trisha.
She was rich. He was poor.
Yeah, Trisha Alden in the fictional city of Corinth, Pennsylvania.
Corn?
Yeah, because there's three cities. Corinth, Pine Valley, Landview. There's four. Corinth, Pine Valley, Landview, and Port Charles. And they're all next to each other. Now, Jason has been to Port Charles.
I have.
But Pine Valley was All My Children, Corinth was Loving, and One Life to Live was Landview.
I've also been to Salem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
That's right, you have been to Salem.
Well, I haven't been on Days of Our Lives, but the Salem from Days of Our Lives, they used to have one of the outdoor sets just right outside the NBC studios in Burbank, and it wasn't even blocked off. Anyone could just roam around this little it was a city courtyard kind of thing. It was just right outside. So I've actually walked around there.
Have you been to Genoa City?
I don't know what that is.
Genoa City's Young and the Restless.
I've had a backstage tour at The Price is Right, so I may have seen some sets from that, but I haven't actually officially visited it.
Now, what's the town that the Jim Belushi show took place in? Because you were there.
Gosh, I don't remember. We shot that or filmed that in L.A., but I don't. I think it may have taken place in L.A. I'm not sure.
And you have been to West Hollywood. You have been to West Hollywood.
I'm there right now.
Which is where the Bold and the Beautiful, where Forrester Creations is located in the Design Center.
Oh, is it? Well, I'm looking at the Design Center right now, literally staring at it.
Oh, yeah?
You're looking at Forrester Creations.
Okay.
Anyway,
we're off to a weird start.
Let's talk about this. Well, it goes downhill from here, kids, because now we're talking about the movie.
Do you think that
tuned in?
Oh yeah. Do you think that Lori Loughlin and Massimo, the resort they stayed at, was the one in this movie Sunset and Romance from Hallmark?
Yeah. You know what? I do have to say, as sucky as this movie is, I did like that resort.
The resort looked nice, but it didn't look mind-blowingly amazing. And it looked like they filmed this in the off season because the weather in some scenes looked like a tornado was about to hit them.
Yeah, there's a lot of wind.
There's a lot of wind. It looked like it was kind of chilly. Some scenes are really overcast. It didn't. The weather was not cooperating with them for the setting of the movie.
Now, you know that old saying, shit flows downhill. Mm-hmm. So the actors in this movie looked so bored that they didn't add life to what is lackluster material.
They also, I just think the casting wasn't great for this movie. No. I liked, I didn't dislike either one of them, but I didn't think they had chemistry, first of all, the main couple.
None of them did.
And the guy, the premise of this movie is that this guy is supposed to be this, outdoorsy, free spirit, kind of, and he didn't really seem like he was believable as either.
No. And well, actually, I'll get into this once we start.
Well, I was fascinated. I say this is Hallmark's first cuckold movie.
Now, why do you say that?
The majority of the movie, I don't know if we want to just
go into
this. Yeah. Okay, so it seemed like, the movie is about this couple, and they show up at this resort, and so as soon as they arrive, you guys will see, she's like reconnects with this other guy, and then the guy who's like her boyfriend just kind of leaves, like says, I'm gonna leave, and as if he's just gonna leave her with this other guy. He wasn't completely aware of what was happening, but it seemed like he was being cuckolded.
Well,
can you explain what that? I'm not sure I know what that means.
Well, it's like you let somebody be with your significant other. I think that's what it means, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does.
So, because didn't they used to use that term against like non-Trump supporters? Wasn't that because that's why I've
never heard that. Maybe
like cucks. I've heard cuck.
I never heard that. Maybe
because a cuckold is like, you let someone like go off with your spouse and you're aware of it, and sometimes they'll either even get it on in front of you.
Well, I do have a theory, and we'll get into it later in the movie because there's another character that's introduced. I do feel like with a different writer, there could have been a whole indecent proposal scenario going on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's get into this. Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
I also would like to know, think about this, because I know the people at home can't see the actors, but think about this. What if the actors were switched?
Yes.
What if it would have been then you would have had a whole different opinion of what was going on here.
That would have worked.
Yeah.
That would have worked. Oh, are you talking about the two the boyfriend and the guy she reconnects with? Oh, yeah. See, I'm a friend of mine endured this with me last night. And he said that
this to someone?
He volunteered. I was like, all right, I'll get you high. So I gave him some marijuana and we watched. But he said that, and I actually think it would have been a way more interesting movie too if the main characteristics of the main female character and the main guy, the guy she reconnects with, if they were switched. In other words, if she were the sort of outdoorsy free spirit and he played the sort of uptight one that let his career aspirations go.
Yeah.
Okay. That was there like with his like fiance possible fiance to reconnect. Like it would have been way more interesting if their roles were reversed.
I think because the guy switched, I think it'd be interesting that the guy she's with was more like they're both nice guys, but but her real
one really isn't.
He was more driven. The more boys were driven, I think, in my opinion, he was a better looking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it'd be interesting if her boyfriend was kind of like a nice guy, but sort of like I'm working I'm working in a camp or whatever he's doing, and then like he goes off, and then she starts hanging out with this like really driven, better looking guy.
Oh, so you're not even saying cast those two actors in the opposite roles. You're saying that the guy she goes with is the guy she was with. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, switch. I guess you could say switch characters. I think switching. Yeah, but I think the actors would have been interesting as well. But yeah, switch characters. Now I think about it. Yeah.
See, anyway. If this was Lifetime, it would have been an indecent proposal.
Oh, they could have done so much cool stuff with this movie if it were Lifetime.
They would have gone to town
because there were sailboats that were like leaving overnight. There was this mysterious older rich guy. There's there's a current boyfriend. There's a guy from the past. Like, there could have been so much sex and murder in this thing.
Because this was kind of riding the edge a little bit. There was a little bit of not because nobody was married, but sort of like an infidelity, a little bit cheating almost here, more than I've seen other Hallmark
emotionally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so we're at a resort. And we see this guy. He's giving assignments.
Yeah, Katrina and the Waves. They licensed Katrina and the Waves, man.
I'll skip that. I'm walking on sunshine. I better stop it.
Yeah.
To pay for this stuff. All right.
So we see this guy, and he's talking to his employees, and he's giving him a pep talk.
His first scene in the movie is literally him playing with balls, and then he's like handing out maracas.
Balls.
Yeah, he's like literally the main guy is polishing like not even beach balls, but like little balls that kids would play with, throw in the air or whatever.
This is the happiest group of people I've ever seen. This is like Disney World.
Right.
It's like the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
Because they're actors like, we're getting paid.
Well,
So then,
okay.
So then we cut to a business meeting, and we see this young lady, and she's giving a presentation, and we find out that Kate, works for the most popular publishing house in New York. And Kate, of course, since she is a Hallmark heroine, she's very busy, busy, and she is up for a VP position in her company, or VP Director of Marketing. She's up for. And she ended up doing a good presentation, so things were looking up for her. But then we find out that she has written a children's book that she never bothered to get published.
I need to point out two things. First of all, when the guy in the previous scene was playing with the balls and dealing with the happy people, he was saying all these like cheesy dad jokes, and as he was saying all these cheesy dad jokes, it said who was the teleplay was by for the movie. This thing took 4 writers. 4.
Well, they all need to go back to writing school. 4 people.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was kind of like how they do an execution, where it's like 4 people, like someone's in the electric chair, and like 4 people pull the lever so that nobody really feels guilty. They're not really sure who was responsible for pulling the lever.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I've heard that. Yeah,
that makes sense, but I never knew that.
Now, this guy got on my nerves because everything that came out of his mouth was a platitude.
The whole movie, I felt like I was in a I've talked about this on the show before. Successories. I felt like I was in a Successories store.
Right. Or like
a Successories store?
Successories. I've talked about this on the show. It's those posters that you used to see in offices back in the like late 80s, early 90s that would be like, it would show like a prism and then talking about how, we can see life through different perspectives, or it'll be like a paperweight with some sort of stupid platitude on. And they had like a chain of stores and malls. It's still around if you look it up online. Successories.
Is it like a kitten that's hanging from a tree and says, I have to hang it until Friday?
Not quite that cutesy, but same kind of thing, yes.
Right. No, that's actually funny. That I have to hang it till Friday.
Successories, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like one big Tony Robbins infomercial, basically, this guy.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Don't knock Tony Robbins. Okay.
Anywho, I don't mind Tony Robbins actually.
I like Tony Robbins.
I liked his documentary where he was basically talking shit to people.
I haven't seen that yet, but I did the audio cassettes years ago. The past is not equal to present, and every once in a while I see him again doing his stuff, and it's all the same stuff. He's like,
he had this documentary, and I liked him because he would talk like mad shit to these people.
What do you mean? Like, I'm trying to picture like Tony Robbins just like laying the smackdown. What is he saying?
So, like for example, like a woman's talking about, hey, well, this guy dumped me, and he's like, well, what'd you do? Yeah, you always get dumped, don't you? Because you were like, he's just shit like that.
Wow, I would watch that.
He's harsh. You should watch this documentary. He's pretty harsh.
I want that to be like a weekly show.
I'm Not Your Guru, right?
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
Like, he's really harsh.
I like it because it goes like a step beyond tough love.
And well,
he's changed. Yeah, he's changing their patterns. That's his thing. Right. Yeah, that's what he says he's doing. Yeah.
And then you have to run across coals after the whole thing.
Oh, you do? He's still doing that? He's been doing that for years.
Yeah. But he basically talks so much shit to these people that they're like, oh, I guess you're right.
He should have talked to the couple in this movie that go to the resort.
Right.
Yeah, these people need help.
Yeah, definitely watch that I'm Not Your Guru, Jason. I was surprised because I was just like, oh my God, he's actually kind of cool.
We should do that for next week's podcast. Instead of a Lifetime or Hallmark movie, we just watch a movie of Tony Robbins talking shit to people.
Watch it.
I've been meaning to watch it. Yeah.
And you know what? I enjoyed it so much, I would actually watch it again. It was not bad at all.
Maybe we do a little mini episode.
Yeah.
Right? You guys want to do it? I'll do it.
Let's discuss off air. I was kind of joking.
Okay.
All right.
I do it.
All right.
Anyway. Oh, okay. So who was the one that said? Oh, then she threw out a platitude too, because her and her boyfriend were going on vacation, and then she says, "Life is a book ready for a new chapter."
Oh boy, a book. So a book that's already published, it needs a new chapter? Anyway, we're going to be here all night.
Well, they do that. They'll do a re-release of a book and do addendums and things. Like that, what's that? How to Win Friends and Influence People? They keep releasing new versions of that all the time.
So, okay, so then they go to, Katie and Eric go to this resort. And when they get out of the van, she bumps into the guy giving the pep talk, Shep. And it turned out that Katie and Shep went to high school together. And then
they worked together, or they were camp counselors together.
Right,
they were camp counselors, yeah.
And I thought
his name was Chip, and then I thought it was Chet, and then I got the Shep by the end of the movie.
Because his name was Michael Shep. His name was Michael Shepard, and it's funny because I know somebody named Michael Shepard.
I just sent you both the link to Successories. That's what that ding was just now. That was me.
Oh, no.
But it's so funny. I know someone named Michael Shepard, and people call him Shep. So that was just kind of funny to me. But he's black. But he's black. He's black and probably almost 7 feet tall. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
So her laptop drops, and I was like, oh my God, because it dropped from a pretty high, it dropped from the van, and I thought, oh my God, that laptop is going to be smashed, but it was not. And so Shep gets her laptop, and they kind of reunite, and then then she's like, oh, well, what do you do? And Shep tells her that he's the activities director, which I guess was basically what he did at the camp. Mm-hmm. And so then he did what a lot of friends would do, which I would do too. If you ran into someone who you liked, he's like, well, you know what? I'm going to I'm going to take over your account, and I'm going to get you good deals and stuff, and I'm going to get you the best stuff. Mm-hmm. And I would do that for a friend too. Yeah. If I worked in a place like that.
For sure.
Ooh. And so Eric then realizes that there was an event happening, the Van Houten event.
Yeah.
And this is this real estate mogul, Gus Van Houten. And he's someone who because Eric, I guess, is in real estate as well. It's someone who Eric really admired.
Yeah.
And so,
well, this sets the stage for several scenes throughout the movie with these two guys, Eric and his idol Gus, which are the most meaningless scenes.
Now, I want to word this delicately. Did you find it a little bit odd? The guy with the last name Van Houten was black? Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
That's it's not impossible, but it's not super likely.
Okay. And listeners, I am black. Because I'm prefacing this because when the character showed up, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Van, I was like, really?
What's his name?
Him?
Van Houten. It's a very Dutch sounding name, Van Houten.
But then again, you are talking to someone whose last name is Kirkendall.
Fair, and I'm half Asian and my last name's Bowers, but it the only reason I pointed out is because it did feel like, when they wrote this movie and they wrote that character name and then they cast a different actor, they could have given that actor or that character a different name, and they chose not to.
Right.
When they had 4 writers.
Right. 4.
Yeah. 4. Yes. Well, they did it.
And the next scene we find out that Shep is actually putting in for a job in Tahiti because and his boss was like, why are you leaving? You're doing well here. And then he threw out some other platitudes of why he was leaving.
Oh yeah, that was Bob. Yeah, he was full of platitudes.
So then they go to dinner. Eric and Katie go to dinner, and they're talking about going parasailing. And then this is where our trope comes in. Katie is afraid of open water.
So she went to a resort on the beach.
Right.
They did make it clear that the distinction was not she was afraid of water, or even, water at the beach. She was afraid of being like out on the ocean, like out in the middle of it.
Well, who the hell isn't?
Apparently Gus, he had a sailboat.
What am I, a starfish? Of course I gotta be afraid if I'm stranded in the middle of the ocean.
So then, Gus, so then they're at dinner, and Gus looks across the room, and Eric looks across the room and is like, oh my God, that's Gus Van Houten. I want to go and talk to him. And
did you notice he did say some cake? He ate cake like dessert, but he didn't finish it. He had a little bit left.
So Kurt's like, oh my God, he ate cake. This guy's okay in my book.
Oh no, he had some left.
Yeah, Kurt's upset that he didn't eat it all, and I'm sorry for your loss, Kurt.
So Kurt was horrified.
I have to be bloated in belief. I got to be Patti Labelle. I have to be like, just so full not to finish the dessert. So I don't know if I could even get up if I'm in that state.
So Eric like ditches her and goes and talks to Gus. And so then Katie goes outside and she sees Shep like taking the toys out of the pool. And they start talking.
Oh, his name's Shep, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's helping Shep, and then Shep throws out another platitude. If you say no to adventure, you say no to life.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, that's what Shep said.
Okay.
I mean, Shep's idea of adventure is pulling giant pool floaties out of the pool because the other staff members didn't do it. How in the hell would that become his job?
By the way, you're correct.
Pissed if I were him.
Doesn't Shep looks like he works 24 hours a day.
Oh, and he's the only person from his department you ever see doing any activities, except with the exception of that girl with that accent I could not place.
But she's rarely working.
Yeah.
Because his employees are all hanging out. They're happy. They're laughing. Having a good time.
Well, he handed them maracas. Yeah. They've got no cares in the world.
Right.
No,
so then Eric finds Katie and he's like, well, guess what? Mr. Van Houten, Gus invited me to play golf with him tomorrow. And so then the next day, Katie goes to the pool and she brings all of her papers with her, which I'm like, okay, come on, Katie. We are in 2021. You could bring your laptop or even your iPad or even your phone.
Well, what physical papers is she dealing with in 2021? It's not even like, she could have converted it to a digital document. Like, why wasn't it a digital document to begin with?
I don't.
And it was a lot of papers. Like, it wasn't a few papers. It was like a lot of papers.
Well, she packed a file cabinet. But I was surprised about. She was she kept looking over, like they had her like looking over at the empty chair, just to let us know.
If I were somebody staying at that resort and I saw like a primo spot by the pool and the chair was not in use, I would be pissed off and I would try to take that chair.
I would be so mad because in places like that. Because you know what? In resorts like that, because I've been to resorts like that, and you never can find a chair, and they're always taken. And people get there fucking at like 7 a.m. to save their chairs. And so when you get out there at noon, there's never chairs.
No, she
I
won't let
was
anyone
so
sit
mad
there.
at her.
That chair symbolizes her boyfriend who's not there.
She did
can't sit
longingly looked at the towel rolled up on the chair at one
Oh
point.
yeah.
That chair symbolizes a fight, because I'm like, is he coming? You've been sitting alone for an hour. Is he coming? Well, then I need this lounge.
Yeah. Well, you don't do
Because my
that. If you want to
feet are
hold on to your woman, you want to hold on
My
to your
feet
woman.
are hot.
Yeah, exactly. You want to hold on to your woman. You better start paying attention. Don't run off with Dr. Van Helsing.
My feet are hot, and I'm married to a British person who's getting mad at me because I'm mouthing off to you to get this chaise lounge, because he would never want to create a stir and would just sit on the hot ground. And it's up to me to go and get the chaise lounge.
And then Kate would be like, "But don't you
Anyway.
understand that I'm lonely, and that chair fills a hole in my cold dead heart?"
Well,
But let's just.
well, you know what? You can give me that chair, and you can come and sit over and talk to us. We're very nice.
Now, Les, are you talking about yourself? Your feet hurt?
My feet are hot
Your feet are
because it's
hot.
hot. Because
Yeah,
we're in the sun.
you're on that pavement
Yeah.
or whatever, you know. It's like you need to
Yeah.
like give your feet a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, my flip flops are in the locker. Because you throw your stuff in the locker.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Actually,
so
got
then
confused.
her papers start blowing away. I was projecting.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
I'll have to listen back and I'll get this straightened out. Okay.
Her papers start blowing away, and then Shep goes and helps her get her papers. But didn't some of them fall in the water?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
just like we're crumbled up. I mean, he was chasing him around like a moron.
So it's like,
That
I
guy-
hope you're.
That guy's always there. Like, if something happens, he's always there. Like,
Again,
Nearby.
Lifetime movie, totally different scenario. He would have been stalking her and would just
Right.
magically be there in his black hoodie.
Right, in 100 degrees, he'd be in the black hoodie.
Yeah. Well, there was a scene in the water later where he's like fully clothed while they're paddleboarding.
Yeah.
I think he had a bathing suit on, but
Well,
he
he had
was
a
wearing
bathing
shirt,
suit, but he
yeah.
was like wearing a shirt. He's the activities director there. Like, you should be comfortable taking
no.
his shirt off.
He never had a shirt off.
If this was Lifetime, he'd be walking around in a thong and would have taken like 5 showers.
Yeah. There was a hot guy, a hot extra in one scene that was shirtless. That was the closest thing to skin we got in this movie.
He would have taken so many showers if this was a Lifetime
Showers?
movie for no, because
Yeah.
how in Lifetime movies there's
Oh, I
always
see
a
what you're saying,
gratuitous
yeah.
male
Yeah,
shower
it's
scene.
always like a younger male, like, always still an adult, but always like on the younger end, like early 20s male, and toward like the last third of the movie, there's always a shower before they get murdered.
right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was a... Yeah. I was going to say something, but I just forgot. What were we talking about? This movie. Yes, okay, here we go.
So then Shep is like, "Hey, Katie, don't sit alone. We're going hiking. You want to come?
Stallone?
Yeah.
Don't sit alone."
Oh, I thought you said Stallone. Like Sylvester Stallone.
So then he talks Katie into going hiking.
And then
they're
the parrot puts the button on the scene. They hired someone to do a voiceover for a parrot where the parrot says "Buenos dias." That actually happened in this movie.
Like I said,
4 writers. 4.
Yeah, probably one of them
Like-
was doing that voiceover.
like I said, I hate this movie. So they're chatting and they're hiking, and then we find out that she's a writer, but she fell into marketing because she was afraid, but she's good at marketing. And then all of a sudden they walk up on a zip line.
Wait. I have to point something out. I hope you guys noticed this. So as they're
think I
going
did.
on their group hike, did you
Yeah.
notice the extras in this scene?
Well, I noticed there was one guy, it was black, and Shep called him bro. Is that what you're gonna say?
No. It wasn't that. It was that all of the
Big bro.
extras in this scene that were on the hike that were supposed to be guests at the resort were all of the same exact extras that, like just moments earlier in the movie, were the other employees of the activities department.
You're right.
It was the same
You are
group of
totally
people.
right. Yes.
The people on the hike were also
Jason,
the
you were-
employees?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No, I didn't notice
Jason,
that.
you are absolutely right. Because at first, I thought it was like a work thing. Because I did. I thought it was like a work
No, they
thing.
were just repurposing extras and did a poor job of it.
Jeez.
That's funny.
Well, then I guess I'm the target audience because I didn't even notice.
Well, you did notice the microaggression.
I noticed that where you called the one black person bro. Hey, brother.
Right.
Excuse me.
Oh, that happens more than you know, Kurt.
Really?
That happens all the time. First she's afraid to do the zip line, but then she does the zip line.
I like how he sprung it on him.
And
Sprung
then
it on her. Like, did the rest of the people know they were going to be on a zip line? I guess they do. They work there, so.
Well, no, they don't work there.
Right,
They're guests that signed up for this hike, but they probably signed a waiver.
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Guess what, everybody? You're all going to get a zip line now. Okay.
So then that night they were going for a tiki dinner, right? And she's dressed up. Oh, that's right. And by the way, Eric and Katie were not sharing a room.
I wasn't sure about that. That wasn't clear, was it?
Oh, I actually didn't realize that.
Well, no,
That
because
makes
like
sense
for
for
dinner, like
Lifetime.
they would meet up at places.
That's true.
Oh. They weren't sharing a room. Who on
Yeah.
earth? God, this is on a different planet.
Well, also
they
this
would always meet up.
resort, like what seemed like it should have been a sexy couples getaway, there were an awful lot of kids at this resort.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So you're going to go to a romantic resort, and you're going to get separate rooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it is a Hallmark
Sounds-
movie.
Boy, they.
I totally believe that that's true. It didn't even register, but now that you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
That
So
makes me depressed. Okay.
So she shows up for dinner, and it's going to be like this nice romantic dinner, and like he had petals, like she had to follow these
A
rose petals.
lot, yeah.
But she's walking on the rose petals, and she sees a lizard.
Now, would that stop you guys?
No,
Oh, you walk around it. It's a fucking
No.
iguana.
It's
No.
it's not a rat. It's an iguana.
you walk around, you sit down and start eating, and maybe even throw it some chicken or something.
I don't think
like,
an iguana is gonna hurt you.
Eric was such a douche about it in the next scene because he was like complaining about like, I can't believe we saw this at what's supposed to be a 5-star resort. I'm like, you went to a fucking tropical island. What the fuck
Right.
do you expect?
You're in the jungle.
You're invading
You're-
their space.
Yeah.
Right. This is the lizard's home, not yours.
Yeah, they should be complaining.
And then they go to like the restaurant there at the resort instead of like, because they're so freaked out by this iguana, they don't want to sit in their beautiful cabana. They're like, oh, let's
Right.
go to the resort and like this nice restaurant. And it's like they called it a nice restaurant, but it had like big like signs in the background like promoting specials and stuff like it was a Chili's.
It looked like a Howard Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and meanwhile, that's outside too. There's going to be iguanas at the restaurant as well. So
And it was one iguana. It wasn't like several.
Yeah.
I guess
And
I'd be
iguana-
weirded out. Yeah, if there was like a fleet of iguanas coming my way, then
Oh,
I might be a little.
For sure. Or like a
take it
mountain
back.
lion or something like that. Yes, then be afraid. But it's an iguana that's going to move real slow. And it's just hanging out on those
And-
rose petals.
And if you notice, the iguana was ignoring them.
Yeah.
He wasn't even paying attention to
The
them.
iguana was bored by them.
Yeah. That's what it was. He
Yes.
fell asleep. He's like, oh, these two.
Who could blame him? Okay, so then right, so then they get involved in this couples game,
Oh yeah, contest.
but they didn't know any of the answers. But come on, they're not even sharing a room. How much can you know?
Can we please, for the love of God, Hallmark, stop making trivia contests thing in your movies. Please. Like it's something that everyone is like clamoring to do. It's not. It's not. It's certainly not. It's certainly not a romantic getaway, because it wasn't even like it was ever was competing on a level playing field with the trivia, like, you know, random stuff about TV shows or sports. It was like they were basically playing the dating game, and the rest of those yahoos that were there trying to play, they didn't get to play, but they all stood around watching these complete strangers play this boring game. It was so terrible.
Yeah, the people who didn't have any lines, they weren't allowed to play, really. And then, I agree. I don't want to see these trivia things. I'm also getting tired of seeing people who are planners, wedding planners, event planners. Enough of this.
Activities directors. Because this is basically the plot of that movie we watched a couple weeks ago. The guy that was like giving hikes at that resort.
And then they put it down. It's like what do you call it? It's like a passive aggressive thing. They show it as like a cool job, and then it's like, oh, but is this really what you want to be doing?
Yeah.
How insulting. Yeah, because I'm living in a tropical locale.
If you're running all of the activities at a giant resort like that, that's probably a pretty big deal of a job.
Yeah, like if hospitality was your career, that's not a bad job at all. And there's people who make a career out of hospitality.
Yes, but he wanted to be a notary public. He gave that up.
That I would watch that Hallmark movie. Somebody that's their real aspiration is I want to be a notary public.
Okay, this next scene,
like the moment when I get my seal.
This next scene, I would have been livid. I would have been so mad.
Okay, what happened?
So angry because they show up for this boat ride. And she's going to go, and it's with this potential new boss.
It was supposed to be a yacht. They were supposed to go on a yacht ride with Gus, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they get there, and it turns out to be a sailboat. But it was not a shitty sailboat. It was a nice sailboat.
I'm curious what you're mad about here. Okay.
Oh, I'm mad about it, too.
Because so they show up, they're ready to go.
Okay, yeah.
Well, okay, so they show up. This guy invites you. She shows up, and he's a potential boss. Mm-hmm. And it's not like she was like, "Oh no, I'm not interested. I'm not going to go." She shows up, and before they get on the boat, she's like, "Oh no, I've changed my mind."
Oh, see, that's I'm mad for a different reason than you are, I think, Les.
And because I'm like, are you kidding me? You didn't have to. You could have said, "I'm not interested." Now you've embarrassed me in front of this guy who I'm trying to get a job from.
No,
okay. I don't exactly agree with that, but okay.
My take on this, I actually agree with Kate. I think she did the right thing here. She was reluctant to go on this thing anyway because she didn't want to be in the open water. But a yacht is a lot. It doesn't move around as much. It feels much more safe when you're on it. And she gets there, and it's not a yacht. It's not a big, huge yacht. It's a sailboat, and it's a completely different game. It's sort of be like if you're afraid of heights, and somebody's like, just go on this hike. It's tall, but like, you're not going to fall off the mountain, and you kind of reluctantly go, and then you get there, and you're like, actually, we're going skydiving.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I do appreciate the fact. I mean, people do have legitimate fears, and some people respect those fears, and some people don't so much. And so I kind of I internalized that when I was watching this.
Now, I'll take this one step further, and this is why I would have been really pissed off and broken up with her ass. So you're afraid of open water. You don't go on this boat. You go home, but then you're dicking around and going paddleboarding with this guy in open water.
Well, I agree with that.
So pissed.
So
mad.
That's different. Because that's not in the middle of the ocean where, like, if you sink, you die. When you're paddleboarding, you're really close to the shore, and she's literally with a guy that does this every day.
Yeah. Oh, no. If you're not going to go on this boat, your ass better be on shore, like baking in the sun. I better not catch you in the water on a paddle boat.
I think he would. I think a lot of people would have. Lass's attitude. I think I would have been a little pissed off too. Like, oh wait a minute, you just overcame your fear and you went in the water.
Right.
Like, what's going on here?
He was a dick though, because
Yeah.
if he didn't lie to her about it, he certainly was trying. I'm talking about Eric. He was certainly trying to get her to go on this boat because it was beneficial to him, knowing that she was already afraid of the yacht, but she was doing it for him, and like he wasn't upfront about it, or Gus wasn't upfront, and it's a fucking sailboat. I don't blame her one bit from walking away from that.
Well, no, the walking away, I'll give you that. But then to get back in the water and go paddleboarding, I'd be like, oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. No. No, ma'am. You keep your ass out of the water.
Because they even justified it. They justified it a little bit in the paddleboarding scene because she fell off and then realized that she was only, her feet only went about 2 feet underwater and hit the floor, so it wasn't going to be dangerous.
She overcame her fear. Yeah, I guess. I get it. I mean,
ma'am.
I get her walking away from the boat. Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't, and she's like, she almost tries to do it. No, I'm not ready for this. I kind of.
So then anyway, Eric's on the boat. He's talking to Gus about Katie. Meanwhile, Katie is talking to Shep and telling Shep that she's not enjoying this vacation. I give her that because she's like, we're not spending time together and we're here on vacation. But then again, you're not even sharing a room. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you expect?
I wrote my notes that Kate needs to get laid.
Yeah.
And
She was trying.
And then Shep then tries to bowl her over with yet another platitude. And then they somehow end up horseback riding.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
well, not only them, but also their doubles. Whenever these horses started racing and stuff like that, all of a sudden it was a wide shot, and it wasn't them on the horses anymore.
Well, before we even get to the horseback riding, we had that scene with Gus and Eric on the boat, and they're talking about, Gus is talking about like Kate seems like a keeper. He's spouting some platitudes about pearls or something, and that's the moment I was like, is he trying to do some sort of indecent proposal thing?
Like that would have been cool.
He's like, it's like it's only him and Eric on this boat. Like, what? Gus isn't married, but he's talking about how great marriage is, but like he's there by himself and Eric's there with him, and it was so creepy.
And then the song would go. Remember the song from Indecent Proposal? This is no ordinary love. Remember?
Was that by Lauren Christie?
Is by Sade.
Oh, that was okay. Never mind.
I remember that song, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was from Indecent. It was from Indecent Proposal. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'll give you $1 million to sleep with your wife.
Well, there were 2 movies that came out with the same story. There was also Honeymoon in Vegas that came out around there.
Yes, one was a comedy and one was a drama.
Well, with the Indecent Proposal, I'd be like, yes, I'll take the $1 million, and it is Robert Redford, so go ahead.
Honeymoon, who, besides Nicolas Cage and Sarah Jessica Parker, who was in Honeymoon in Vegas?
Who?
No.
Bruno Mars.
As who?
Bruno Mars was the young Elvis impersonator. He was in that movie when he was like 12 years old.
I like Bruno Mars.
Me too.
Did you know that Quentin Tarantino played an Elvis impersonator on The Golden Girls?
I did know that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And look at him today.
Is that the takeaway from the show? Playing an Elvis impersonator can be a real boon to your career,
right? Right? You'll make shoot 'em up movies. Okay, so is this the part where Eric told Gus that I'm going to share property with her?
No, that's a little bit later.
Okay.
I think.
So anyway, I'm just trying to find my spot.
Oh, they're talking about the horses. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, those horses.
So once again, it's no big deal because it was just another platitude. Face your fear, blah, blah, blah.
Accessories.
Well, then they're going to race on these horses.
Right.
Which is not easy to do. You ever rode a horse?
Yeah.
It's
hard.
Racing on a horse. And neither were these actors, like I said.
So then we have a sightseeing montage.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of B-roll that was used in this. There's a lot of the second unit people get a lot of work in this.
Before the sightseeing montage, I called it a shitty souvenir shopping montage.
Where's that?
But
I had feelings about that, yeah.
But I also noted that there's a scene where Gus and Eric are walking slowly on the beach. And my friend that I endured this movie with me pointed out that Gus's speech rhythm, like his speech pattern, sounded very similar to Barack Obama.
Oh,
because you know how when Obama speaks, he sort of talks a couple words and then he keeps going. Yeah. You know, it's like there's like sort of unusually placed pauses. Gus spoke like that.
I could see that. Oh, and then things get really kind of indecent proposal-ish because then Eric calls Katie and informs her that he's spending the night.
Yeah.
With Gus.
Yeah.
He's spending the night with Gus.
Do we skip over something? Do we skip over them when they were out in the water? I know we mentioned this before. When they're out in the water and they have the boats.
Oh.
They're
the shark.
Oh yeah, she thinks she sees a shark, which is ridiculous.
That's when she fell.
They go out into the water with these like windsurfer kind of things, and there must be a name for this.
They're stand-up paddleboarding. Stand-up paddleboarding.
Paddleboarding, yeah. She thinks she sees a shark. There's a plastic fin, and I guess this was in the script, and she didn't even know how to sell it because it's such a stupid line. She's like, is that a shark? No, that's a piece of plastic, and you know that.
So at this point of the movie, I was like cursing under my breath. And like
during this shitty souvenir shopping montage?
Yeah, we didn't get to that yet.
No, we're here now.
Yeah.
Oh, we are? Okay, I guess we skipped. Okay.
Why? What did we skip?
No, I thought we were at the when they're out in the water, but okay. I'll catch up. And then the horseback riding is after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
And then Eric was like, I'm spending the night with, on the down low.
Yeah. And so it was at that moment that Kate and Shep decided that they're going to go shopping.
Right.
And talk about like Mayan toilets.
Yes, that's right. Shopping. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. All that crap. I wrote hanging shelves equals garbage.
Yeah.
There's a ukulele. It's a bunch of crap.
So then they have like a heart-to-heart talk, and then they bring up the trope that they use in all of the movies. He was a lawyer. He was a lawyer.
What is that noise?
That's my phone.
Your phone has been going off the hook tonight, Les. You are popular.
I know. This was my husband.
I'm telling you, Loretta Swit, she's trending. It's coming up on Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp.
So
classmates.com. She's all over the place.
So what was I saying?
Shitty souvenir shopping montage.
So then they have the talk.
Yeah.
And he says that he was a lawyer, a divorce lawyer.
No, that's fun. Why did he think that was going to work? He thought I'll be able to mend there or something. How do you think that was going to be a pleasant experience?
He actually said it in the dialogue of the script. You know, they had 4 writers, so they were able to figure this part out. When he first got into it, he actually liked it because he was helping people, move on to a more positive place in their life, and it was like a transition. But then he realized it was all about the money.
Right.
All about divvying up assets.
You didn't know that before?
No.
Anyway. I like when they're at that Mayan fountain. They're throwing stuff.
That was cool. Coins. That I did like.
But they're throwing coins in. He's like, make a wish. And then Eric calls her, and he goes, well, I guess your wish came true. Yeah, that's what she wished for when she put the coin in the fountain. I hope Eric calls me.
I like that. Shep, as he's talking about how like the Mayans were known for all of their plumbing technology, and so they were known for making fountains and toilets. After that, he then goes into this big thing about like it's this secret thing to throw a coin in a fountain and your wish comes true, as if that isn't a thing at every single fucking fountain on Earth.
Right. And no, because there was that movie, the movie that we've talked about before. 3 coins at a fountain.
Yeah. What's that? There's a movie called Three.
Les has talked about this before. Yeah.
Yes, we've talked about this before with I think it was Suzanne Pleshette, and I think Suzanne Pleshette was like one of the women, and Pleshette? And then they had a remake in the 80s with Stephanie Kramer and Lonnie Anderson and one other person.
Les, what do you think happens more? Eric Roberts forgets that he was in one of the hundreds of movies that he was in, or Kurt forgets about things that we've mentioned on this podcast?
Well, sorry.
Kurt Fitzpatrick forget.
I say that with love.
I've had a lot of medication. I remember King Ralph, though.
Yeah, you do.
King Ralph.
I've had this prescription medication. I've had a lot of it. So, and what happens is when you take prescription medication, what's her name? Suzanne Pleshette references just seem to leave your brain first. It kind of carves that up.
She was in the Shaggy DA.
Was she?
Yeah, I think so.
I know. Yeah. I remember she was in.
Yes.
I remember she was in Oh God Book 2.
Oh, not in the first one, only the sequel?
No. The first one's Terry Garr. And no, she's in the second one.
Suzanne.
I gotta admit, I did not have Suzanne Pleshette rabbit hole marked on our pop culture bingo card for today, but that's a good one.
Suzanne Pleshette, and one of my favorite series is Newhart.
Oh, yeah.
No, the Bob Newhart show.
You remember?
Oh, Sears Endings. Okay, you cut out there. You cut out there right when you said ending.
Newhart.
Yes.
Oh. The second Newhart where he wakes up and she's in bed from the Bob Newhart show.
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite
it was all a dream. Yes.
That's good stuff. I saw that when it aired first run. I remember seeing that.
Same.
Okay, so all of a sudden, they're line dancing.
Oh, yeah.
And bad line
I feel like
dancing.
EDM music. It was so weird. Imagine Skrillex, and then people are like line dancing to it.
Well, they were eating a lobster. Yeah. They ate a lobster, and she's like, "I'm a big bloated, big fat pig." And he said, "Well, listen," he said, "There's a cure for that." And then all of a sudden, they walk into a big exercise show.
They also, we didn't even comment on the fact that when they were going to go get the lobster, she invited him to the lobster dinner in the middle of the afternoon. She's like, well, they've already started preparing the lobster. Doesn't lobster only take like a few minutes in the boiling water?
Yeah, then you just throw it in the water.
Yeah,
I didn't even eat lobster, and I know that.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the lobster that
it's very inhumane.
Life for this movie. Yeah, it's mean. The lobster's still alive. Like, come on, you wouldn't like if someone did that to you. Yeah. That's that. I was going to say, no man is going to be okay with this. As you said, Les, they're not going to be happy that she's out in the water, but then she's spending the whole day, all these activities, going out to dinner. No guy should be happy about this.
No, absolutely. 100% no, but he created this situation. He ditched her on their vacation.
Yeah. That's where I said cuckold. That's where I said it's possible.
Right.
Cuckold situation.
Because no straight man would leave their girlfriend to go and spend the night with another guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows what's going on there.
Like, why isn't Kate upset about Eric hanging out with Gus?
Yeah,
and think about it. Gus was like, he was an older man, but he was a good-looking older man.
And very rich.
He's got money. Yeah, he's got money.
Yeah.
By the way, Melinda Gates, if you're listening.
Right.
But I'll tell you, no woman is going to deal with this either. So no woman is going to deal with like her boyfriend going out with some other woman.
No.
That's not going to go.
Right.
No.
But in the Hallmark universe, though, nobody has sex anyway. Like they were in separate rooms, so she probably like maybe these characters are virgins. Like we don't know.
Maybe.
Bored. I could tell you from experience.
But Gus is gonna awake something in Eric.
Right. Katie gets a call from her friend / coworker Sally.
I'm gonna insert a platitude into you.
Right.
What's that mean? I'll show you.
I got your platitude right here. Is that a platitude in your pocket? Or are you happy to see me?
It's a successory.
Anyway,
turn off the lights. I got a successory for you.
So Katie gets a call from her friend / coworker Sally, and Katie's boss wants to see her presentation, even though Katie is on vacation and told them she was going to be on vacation.
You know, Sally needs to get her shit together and get a life. It just seems like she's living vicariously through Kate.
She is.
Right.
You know, that's weird. Her whole life is
So
Kate.
then we see Eric. We see Eric and Gus again walking, together like men
hand
do
in hand.
after a night.
That's fun.
After a night.
This is like
together.
an erectile dysfunction
Eric-
commercial. They're like hand in hand on the beach, essentially.
What happens on a random
And then
island
Gus-
stays on a random island.
Well, whatever they did the night before worked because Gus offered Eric a job.
I guess I owe you now.
I actually wrote in my notes at this point. They totally boned last night, right?
Right?
Who? No, I'm not going to ask. I'll just ask. Who do you think was the top and who was the bottom in that situation?
Uh,
I think Eric's the
Miss-
bottom.
yeah, because he wanted the job.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
So who was it? Eric was the bottom.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
Gus is a powerful man in many ways.
Because Gus had like big dick energy. He did.
Oh God, I'm gonna cry. That's great. I didn't think about that when I was watching this movie, but I'll tell you, I'm thinking about it now. That's all I can think about.
Well, welcome to my daily existence when I meet people.
Oh. Okay, so now they're on the beat. No, so then Shep is with these kids, right? Like, and you're right. You're right. Shep really does do everything. Yeah. Jason, you said that he does he's babysitting.
Yep.
Yeah, because they were like
Just like
short-handed in daycare, so now it falls to him. Like, really?
Yeah, he's babysitting, and not even one kid, like a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so
Who's doing the other stuff while he's doing that? Who's getting the rafts off the pool? Who's serving drinks?
it's waiting for him.
Well, Isaac is serving drinks.
Working that hot dog stand or whatever.
Is this like like Isaac on the Love Boat? He was always at whatever bar the scene was set. Isaac was there.
Right. Right. And so then, so then Kate tells a story to the kids about a platypus.
Well, yeah, because Shep
this is her story.
pimped her out. Like, said, "Oh, you're gonna help me like with these kids," and she like reluctantly agrees. And then he pimps her out and makes her tell a story.
Right.
And it's the same story that she's had for years. Les Kirkendall Barrett has like 60 different shows. This woman's got one story that she keeps yanking out of her ass.
Yeah.
About a platypus. And then she gave the explanation about a platypus, and I just, tuned out for a second.
These kids are fascinated. All kids want to sit around here, hear a story like that. Oh, a story.
What was she saying about the platypus, though?
I don't know. I tuned out.
Nobody
I
was
was
listening.
reading Soap Opera Digest and watching this movie
Yeah,
at the same
I checked
time.
out. At this point, my friend and I that were watching this movie, we were discussing Eric, and we decided that Eric is Matt Gaetz if Matt Gaetz were hot.
Now, did you have to continue turning to your friend and going, they're normally not this bad?
Well, he knows. He's heard me talk about it, and his brother actually listens to the podcast regularly. So he knows. And then I made, as a palate cleanser after we watched this, I had him watch the first few minutes of Just What the Doctor Ordered.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That cures everything.
Yeah, it really does.
That cures everything. And all is forgiven.
Yeah.
Oh, so then Gus and Eric are talking, and Gus is like, so what are your plans for this young lady? And Eric is like, I'm going to ask her to buy a loft. And Gus looks at him like, you idiot. No, you need to get married because I'm married, and then we can both have beards.
Jeez.
He didn't say that, but where was his wife?
I don't know.
He's going on and on about the virtues of marriage and how
married.
great it is and how it's great for business. Where's this fucking wife?
At home, because she's used to Gus going out on weekends playing with other men. They just don't talk about it.
At home getting a massage by the pool boy.
If I were his wife, and if Gus has that big dick that we predicted moments ago, like, what's she doing?
Sitting home thinking about it.
Right.
Waiting for it to come back.
Right.
Maybe
No, she's shopping.
No, okay.
He's
Not at that shitty souvenir shop. She's not.
She's shopping.
She bought a nice shell necklace and a ukulele.
Okay.
And he gets
So
home.
then-
He's like, "Wow, is that a new puka shell you're wearing?"
Ooh.
Okay, so this is where Gus then turns sexist. Because he turns sexist because he's like, listen, Eric, you need to marry her because a woman needs a man to grow old with. You need to get married.
Ugh.
And I'm like, well, that's
woman?
very sexist. That's what he says. Oh, he said a woman needs a man to grow old with. And it's like, that's very sexist, Gus. A woman doesn't need a man. She wants a man. She wants a man. She could have a man, but she can grow old without a man.
Right.
So then now that Gus told Eric that he needed to get married, all of a sudden he wants to get married. And then, Gus is like, and I suggest you watch Brokeback Mountain. They made it work.
Even though Les and I have lobbied against watching that movie.
I do not like that
Yeah.
movie. I tried. I even went to the theater and everything.
Same.
Didn't work. I was very mad because I was watching Brokeback Mountain and all the rest of my friends were going to a circuit party and I wanted to go. But my boyfriend at the time wanted to go and see Brokeback fucking Mountain. That's a whole other story.
Well, we're gonna say. I said I
took a turn.
I'm not gonna die on a hill about it, but I did like the movie. There's always these backlashes of popular movies, and I have to defend La La Land.
I didn't love La La Land either. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I was kind of bored.
Enjoyed La La Land.
With La La Land?
And now there's Nomadland.
Never had a desire to see it. I don't want to see Frances McDormand shit in a bucket.
It's good.
No.
She should shit in a
It
Mayan
is
fountain.
good, though. It is good, though. It is good.
But there's a
I did
backlash.
give you that.
I'll see on
Why?
Facebook.
Oh,
There'll be a
because
thread.
because the people are not actors or not
No,
professional
why are
actors.
some people just don't like it. They're like, as you said, I don't want to watch Frances McDormand shit. These people are dirty, and then they'll say they're dirty, but they're just like, I don't want to watch these people. It's like this is a really good movie, great performances, and
My only issue, and it's not even a big issue, was that they weren't actors, and you could tell.
I'm
Some
not,
of them.
and to be fair, I've not seen it, but anytime they do that in a movie, I'm not usually a fan of the movie. Less, like I usually sit there just kind of like I'm taken out of the thing that's supposed to seem more natural because it seems so unnaturally natural.
Yeah, because their line reading, but I liked the movie, but like with their line readings, you could tell that they weren't actors.
Yeah, and also they don't look like people you usually see in movies or TV. These are like real people. They found real people who were like nomads.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't even bother me. It was just the fact though that with their line readings, you could just tell.
Wow.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay. Oh, so then all of a sudden, Miss Katie, who is, dealing with her boyfriend running around, all of a sudden decides to get judgy against Shep because Shep was telling her how he likes to move around. And she turns into like Judge Judy and is like, well, you need to stay in one place. And then...
Well, because, he was talking about how what he was really wanting to pursue was family law. He wanted to help families. And she's like, well, you can't really, have a family if you're like never in one place for more than 2 minutes. She
tells him he's hiding from life.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's just looking for a place that he likes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this next part, I just wrote, Shep was talking to his sidekick.
She had a weird accent, right?
Yes.
I didn't notice that. I was trying to figure out how old she was. First, I thought she was like a kid. And then I guess she was in her 20s. I don't know.
She was very happy.
She was adorable, but there was something affected about the way she was speaking. And I don't know if it was an actual accent, if she was trying to cover an accent and not doing a good job of it. It sounded... I couldn't even place what it might have been.
So then all of a sudden, Katie whips out her book that she's been carrying around for decades and starts working on it.
Peg the platypus.
Well, she was working on a sketch. She started drawing the platypus.
And then...
To her, that's writing.
So then Shep then drops a bomb. Guess what, Katie? I, at one point in my life, was engaged.
Yeah.
Well, this is when they're on a jungle cruise. Now they're on another boat.
Mm-hmm.
She can't stay out of the water now.
Yeah.
Right? And then if I was Eric, I'd be like, oh, so I see you can go in the water with this guy and have no problem. You go on a boat with him.
That's the conversation that would be had.
So you go on a boat with him and that's okay. You're all of a sudden safe. But with me, you can't go on a boat.
Well, maybe if you had stuck around, I would have gone on the boat with you. But instead, you were off gallivanting with Gus.
Well, I was trying to get a job. I'm trying to get a job for both of us because, a step up for me is a step up for you too.
Both of us, we're not engaged. We don't even share a room at this sexy resort.
Well, because I respect you.
Our role playing is, I imagine, as good or bad as the acting in Nomadland outside of Frances McDormand.
Oh, we've Nomadland a lot. You haven't even seen it.
I know. I said I suspect that it is.
Jerry. But I agree with the rest of
Now, this is one part I did find cool. They went to that place called a Ceno, which was like a cave. It was like a cave, but there was water. Like it was almost like a natural spring almost.
Yeah. They walk underground. They walk in this cave. That was a perfect opportunity for him to murder her.
Yeah.
Or to make out with her.
Well, like I thought that maybe it was like the Temple of Doom, or like a big old coke fueled orgy down there, or like an Eyes Wide Shut deal, as my friend put it. My friend Bradley.
Awesome. Kate Capshaw pops out. Because remember, Kate Capshaw was in Indiana Jones and the Second of Doom.
Oh yeah. See, I remember that. She was in the love letter.
And she'd go, oh my God, and then they'd fall.
There was a bat down there, and I've been in those kind of caves, like caverns,
Yeah.
You probably have too, Jason, because they have those in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Crystal Cave.
Caverns like that, yeah.
There's another one too.
Bats. You walk around there, you see bats sleeping. They're all hanging.
It's just like stalactites and stalagmites. It's basically like if rocks dripped the same way that icicles do and are formed. So if the minerals or whatever just drip, it forms this sort of like rock icicle.
I know that did look cool.
Yeah, but you do see some sleeping bats in there. They're sleeping, but these people, one of them woke up and started flying around them.
And then they grabbed each other, the Shep and Kate, because they were like, "Oh my God!" and they grabbed each other. But then they gave each other that look, the Hallmark look.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
We can't.
And
they almost suck face.
right. But then they go back to the hotel, and Eric is back, and Shep gets a jealous look on his face. And so then Eric and Katie go to dinner. Eric proposes, and it's never a good sign when you propose to someone and their answer is, "I need to think about it."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was very understanding, though.
That means it's a no.
Also, so their dinner was they were in that cabana they were supposed to have dinner at earlier. So no rose petals this time, but they're sitting there and he's pouring champagne. And as he's pouring it, he's like, "Oh, I forgot to get ice. It's warm." I'm like, why would you need to throw that line of dialogue in there? Like, if it were actually warm on the day of shooting, you wouldn't need to say that. And also, if you were actually at that resort, you wouldn't have been the one handling the ice. The hotel staff would have been.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
actually,
not like a taste division,
Actually, where was Shep? He was slacking. He should have been hoping that he does everything else.
Well, he did show up, remember?
He was doing
that's right.
He was doing it, yeah, but he was also babysitting the kids and
doing the dishes.
He was cleaning 302.
Right.
He was playing Willie Loman in the in their
dinner theater.
Salesman, yeah.
Not only do I love that he's in the production there, but they're doing Death of a Salesman.
Yep.
Right. Oh, okay. So then Shep finds out he got the job in Tahiti, and he wants to leave as soon as possible. So then
he wants to leave the movie as soon as possible.
He wants to leave the island.
Oh,
then okay, so this is an HR issue because Sally calls Katie and is like, the boss is pissed. She wants your presentation, but Katie is on vacation. Isn't this like paid time off?
Yeah. So
your boss can't mess with you because you're off, and the boss signed up on it, so you can't. Isn't that an HR issue?
Absolutely. And also, it was made clear that the presentation wasn't due until a later date. So now they're trying to change the date on her.
So you're gonna go to HR and complain about your boss? That might not work out.
Well, okay, but here's the deal. If I'm on vacation and I'm a normal person, I'm on vacation. I don't bring my work with me on vacation. That's why it's called a vacation.
Right.
And the flip side of that is Kate could have used that as leverage. Oh, if I'm so important that you can't do this presentation without me in the 2 weeks that I'm away from my job, then I guess it is time to give me that promotion. Exactly.
So anyway, Shep is going to Tahiti, and he wants to go now. I'm out, I'm done, goodbye.
Yeah.
So, but then all of a sudden, okay, so then the kids show up and demand another story.
Yeah, they were scouring this fucking resort for this, hey, middle-aged lady who we don't know, can you just stop your day and tell us a story?
Yeah, really?
So does this mean?
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I don't even know if we saw these kids earlier. It was that one boy who he looked a little too old to be wanting to hear a story.
I think he was one of the kids from the other scene. Yeah,
I guess he was. Yeah.
All right. So then why were these kids wandering around alone? Since Shep left, now there's no one to sit the kids.
Because their parents are having an orgy with Gus right now. They're on an island elsewhere.
Right.
Well, that's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah, so the kids are running around like a pack of animals.
Yeah,
and kids would want to do that. They don't want to watch their iPad or anything. They want to walk up to the stranger woman.
Gorgeous beach. There's all these activities and things to do in the beach, and they're like, "Hey, strange lady, I know I'm a 12-year-old kid, but what I want to do right now is have you tell me a story about a platypus."
Right. It's there's only a beach, a pool.
she can't tell the platypus story anymore. She actually has to make up another story, but she can't. So she makes up like a veiled story about her life. Yeah. Now I'm a 12-year-old boy. I don't want to hear your story about princesses. I don't hear you say anything. In fact,
well, it's really a story about existential crises, and they were riveted.
Oh right. Yeah, these kids they wanted to hear the end.
Right.
The end is grim.
So then, after the story, boring the kids to death.
Oh my Lord!
Katie then goes to Eric and dumps him. You know, she doesn't want her life to be defined by work anymore.
I did like, at least finally, it's a little more realistic about it, because sometimes they show people breaking up in these movies. Hey, I understand that you want to go somewhere else. This time, Eric is just like left there alone. You just see the back of his head.
I had actually predicted to my friend that because they always sort of defang any sort of conflict in these movies, I thought for sure that Eric was going to be the one to end things with Kate. I thought he was going to come to her and say, you know, I had this realization that, like, I am not giving you everything, and, like, I'm clearly more focused on my career than I am you. I want to set you free. I thought it was going to be one of those. I'm glad it wasn't.
So then Katie's looking for Shep, and they're like, Shep left. He's gone. Goodbye. He left. And then Katie goes to a bus stop.
So when she went to find him, she went to that like office where Bob worked and the girl with the weird accent worked. So like, and so Shep's in there like typing like a goodbye email, or he was in there like typing a goodbye email or whatever. And they've got this big whiteboard behind him of activities, and they had multiple ceviche tastings scheduled. There was like ceviche like 3 days a week, like ceviche. They love
what is that?
It's like a isn't it kind of like a salsa-ish type of thing?
It's like cold tomato soup.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It had ceviche tastings, and then like one of the days had like all these fun activities, and then one of the activities was lecture.
Well, there you go. There you have it.
And then followed by a ceviche tasting, of course.
I'll skip the lecture.
So then she's at the bus stop. Then she goes to the fountain. And guess who's at the fountain? Shep. And then they start kissing. And then we go to 1 year later.
They had a whole drama, though. They didn't kiss yet. He did leave. He walked away. He was going to get on the bus. The bus sat. I guess the bus was this public transportation bus was specifically for him.
Yeah, they were in no hurry to keep to his schedule.
No, the bus driver couldn't say anything because he was an extra, I guess. So
so he was one of the employees at the resort, and he was a guest there too.
Yeah,
right.
So then he went back and said, "Wait, I forgot something." It's like, how's this going to work?
So then 1 year later, they're at the resort.
Yeah, Shep and
Katie's now a famous writer.
Well, a little girl sees her from like a mile away. So what happens? Oh, so the young girl you said has had the indistinguishable accent. She's now the activities director. I thought she was a teenager at the beginning of the movie, but I guess not. And then Shep is now practicing family law, and a little girl spots Kate from like a mile away. Are you this woman in the book jacket?
Yeah, and we find out there's their honeymoon too, by the way.
Yeah, it's their honeymoon. Yeah. And she wrote Peg the Platypus, and she's a one-trick pony, so she's got one book. She's Harper Lee. Might find another book. Might find an unfinished manuscript from her after she's dead.
Her unfinished manuscript that should not have been published.
Yeah.
No, Harper Lee wrote one book. I don't know about that other one.
And then they
published it, and it should not have been published, and kind of wrecked her legacy. Harper Lee.
There are some awful people who say that Truman Capote actually wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't believe it. It's a theory.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Harper Lee on Oprah, and she said that she only had one book in her. But then they found that second book and published it, and they should not have done that.
No, it's problematic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Their second book? Yeah.
Yeah, because then it turns out that the dad was like in the Klan, and it totally kind of like ruined the message of the first movie.
Yeah. That's a great movie.
This was not.
No,
This
it
was
was
Watch
not.
To Kill a Mockingbird instead of what's this called?
Sun, Sand, and Romance.
Sand, and Romance. Oh my God.
This movie was called To Kill a Kirkendall Barrett.
Oh, final moment of the movie, by the way. So, like, after we find out what happened 1 year later, they cut to Shep and Kate on the beach, and they have like one final kiss. But like, it looked like a hurricane wasn't just imminent, but was like moments away. And that was the end of the movie. That was like the romantic end of the movie. Is like, we're going to get swept up into this hurricane and die, so let's kiss. Yeah.
Ugh. Whoa.
What happened to Eric? We never find out. And Gus.
They're probably on a yacht.
That's the legitimately that is the 1 year later that I want to know about. I want to know what happened to those two.
Right.
Like, where are they in their lives?
They're on a yacht. They're on a yacht, like lying on the front, and like Eric is feeding Gus grapes or something.
I picture Eric at the front of the boat, and like Gus comes up around him, and Eric's like, "I'm the king of the world."
Yes, exactly.
I imagine Gus saying to Eric, "Hey, remember when I told you I had a wife? Well, you're it."
Yeah.
Dun, 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 the end.
That's it.
Wow.
Man.
Kind of like, what was that movie? Some Like It Hot. You guys ever see that?
Yeah.
And at the end,
I have a DVD. I've seen some of it. Yeah.
Because at the, they're in the boat, and he's like,
right, yeah.
and he's like, something, and the guy's like, so, and he's like,
Nobody's
I'm
perfect.
a man. He's like, I'm a man. And the guy's like, so.
Yeah, he says nobody's perfect. That's what he says.
Right.
Yeah. Because I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
I always like that ending. So I was like, oh, well, there you go.
It's a classic ending.
Oh, dear God. I have nothing to say about this movie.
I feel like we
I'm
said a
tapped
lot.
out.
You have nothing to say? Well, not now.
I've
Talked
tapped
about it
out.
for hours.
This movie was awful. I need to see an extra scandalous, just,
That's
I need to-
coming up next.
I need to see a really good Lifetime blood and guts and evilness movie to clear my palate.
Yeah.
We can find one, I'm sure.
Yes. But if you want to get a hold of me on social media, you can find me on my Facebook page, Kirkendall Barrett Presentations, or you can find me on Insta at Kirkendall. Jason.
You can, I wouldn't even say you could. You should leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. It helps people find us. And we are on many, many podcasting platforms. So thank you, and tell your friends about us. You can find us all on Instagram at Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Big Shot Jason. Kurt.
I am Kurt Fitzpatrick, Kurt with a K, and you can see kurtfitzpatrick.com, and you can see all the stuff there is to see. I've got like a TV pilot on there and a comedy special and all kinds of neat stuff. That's it.
And I have a few other podcasts this week on my other podcast, The Reality Reading Rainbow, the podcast where I talk about books written by reality stars and I do interviews. This week, I am interviewing Larry from Bravo by Gays. And is there anything else?
I don't think so.
That's it.
All right. Well, until next week, bye.
Bye.
Bye.